What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another Three Geeks interview. Today I'm joined by Olivia Youngers. Olivia, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. So I like to find out about people when I talk to them. Where are you from originally and what led you to acting?
Oh my gosh. So I've moved around a lot, so I always struggle with that question of where are you from? Because I'm like, but originally from Maine, and now in LA. So, and I have made my way across this country. I've lived quite a few places. Acting has been kind of a weird, circuitous journey as well, kind of like my traipsing across the country. I grew up loving film and television and wanting so badly to be a part of it. And I, did drama in school. And then I kind of went the other direction for a while, and I got my degree in biotechnology with an emphasis in microbiology and fermentation science. And I've been working in clinical oncology for a long time, but acting was always there, and I could never really get away from it. It kept calling me back, to do local theater or whatever. So I finally decided, I just need to start seeing what I can do in that world. And I came to LA in 2019, roughly just in time for the pandemic. So my timing was fantastic.
You've been in some very popular amongst the geek culture projects. How did you get involved with the Guild?
Oh God. So that I was a baby. I was a fan of the show. So I'm a huge geek, and I had been a fan of the show and Felicia Day. And when they needed extras, for a specific season, they were looking for folks to come in initially just as convention goers. And I've been doing cosplay my whole life because, again, always kind of had a lean towards the dramatic and theatrical. And it started there, and I ended up becoming really good friends with the second AD. And so I got involved with the Guild and did a few projects with Geek and Sundry. It was a great experience, and that was my first time really being on like a film production level set, and became obsessed.
What was your go-to cosplay?
Emma Frost.
Oh, nice. One of my favorite characters, actually.
She is the dream. Someone tell Feige, I know they're going to need new X-Men, so, just saying.
Rumor is that the casting is about to start, too, for some of these characters.
I know. Emma's usually not top priority. I feel like they always think of like the core team, right? So, but it'll be interesting to see what they do and how they kind of switch it up. And I feel like I love Feige, I love you, but I feel like they've got a bit of a challenge now with how well the X-Men 97 show has taken off, because they're going to have to figure out a way to make live. See, I could talk about this for forever, and this is not what we're here supposed to be talking about. But they're going to have to differentiate themselves from the X97, which has done an amazing job if you're a fan of the animated series, I think.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm. I cried. The big episode with Magneto and Gambit.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, the whole podcast cried. We talked about it the next day. My girlfriend walks in at the time, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Gambit."
Yeah. And I mean, if you're a fan of the comics, you know what's probably going to happen, but it's still emotional. It still is a gut punch. And yeah.
Well, you say that you've grown up a geek. What was it like getting Star Trek?
That was... I still sometimes can't believe that happened. Star Trek is probably my deepest fandom. So it's like the biggest. I have a bat'leth hanging up above my head right now. You can't see it in the video, but it is on the wall. I have my ring. Like I said, I grew up doing cosplay. I did Star Trek cosplay as a kid. So I went to my first convention so I could meet Jerry Ryan as a kid.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's like being on set. I mean, Next Generation. Which seasons were you on?
Oh gosh. So I was on the 3rd season of Picard.
Oh, that's the season to be on, especially if you're a Star Trek fan.
I know. I was so I knew, because you get the script, and I was friends with people who worked on the show, and I knew that this was what was happening, that they were bringing in next gen cast. And then when I got my sides for the first episode I was doing, and it was Frakes directing, and all I could think was, oh my God, don't vomit. Like, don't get so excited that you throw up on John Frakes. I was so worried that I was going to do, which I've never done before. I don't know where that thought came from, but then once it took seed, I couldn't stop it. And then I got to set, and I was like so determined to be like chill and professional and not nerd out about what a Star Trek fan I am. And then I was immediately outed by friends of mine on the show as a huge fan. And Frakes is everything you want him to be. Like, everything you think he is, he is. He's an absolute sweetheart and full of energy and like a mischievous, like, just genius. And he immediately started questioning me and going, well, who's your favorite character? And I was like, well, 7 of 9, because that's the diplomatic answer when you're surrounded by next gen cast. And it's true. And he was like, I don't care about that. Who's your favorite next gen character?
Who is it? That's a good question.
Well, so I told him Spot because I didn't want to play favorites. But actually, as a kid, I really loved Guinan. I think. So, yeah. But yeah.
Now, Jonathan Frakes is a nice guy. I've met him a couple of times. He's super down to earth.
He's so wonderful. So that was just, amazing. And then that first episode I did, Gates was there, and she's like space mom, like Beverly Crusher, and Gates McFadden also, because she is a choreographer and I love Labyrinth, and I knew she'd worked on that, so I'm like a fangirl of hers for so many reasons. So that was remarkable. And then Jerry Ryan was there, and I just was like, well, I'm just in absolute heaven. I don't know. So it was amazing.
What was it like going back the second time?
The second time it was just still as heightened. I was really hoping, I didn't get a chance to, but I was hoping I would meet Tim Russ. But I didn't get a chance to that day. I saw him, but COVID protocols were still in place, so we were kind of sequestered for the most part, and it just didn't feel appropriate to go run out and flag him down again. It's fine if other people want to emphasize that I'm a big fan, but I wanted to be a professional, But yeah, it was great. And that was a longer day. And again, it was, I got to run down the corridor of a ship, and it's like a whole corridor that they built. It was amazing. It was just everything. The only thing I wish I could have done at some point, but they didn't have them at all, was if I could have climbed through a Jeffries tube. I think I would have just like melted on the spot, but no Jeffries tubes that season, unfortunately.
Well, speaking of Jonathan Frakes, I didn't know. I was a huge fan of Beyond Belief when I was younger. I had no idea it came back for additional seasons recently. And
right?
You were in an episode, and that is awesome. Like, first off, thank you for coming on the show, so I know that there's more out there somewhere. And do you know where it's airing?
So that's what I was going to tell you. It's only airing in Germany.
What?
So here's the thing. So that film during the strike, it was one of the few things that got like a waiver. And the reason for that is, so I guess Beyond Belief took off in Germany. They love it there, and they wanted to make more. And they tried making more in German with like with a German cast speaking German. This is what was told to me. So if this is inaccurate, I apologize. And people didn't like it. They wanted it to feel like the American show that they had become fans of. So they brought Frakes back. They cast American actors. We do the scene in English, and then they dub it for a German audience into German. But they want it dubbed. They don't want it spoken in German to begin with. It's so funny. So yeah, that was a wild thing. And yeah, it was Frakes again. So I was like, I guess I just have to follow Frakes around for the rest of my career. I mean, there's worse things.
There are worse things. I got to figure out how to watch the show because, like I said, I really like the original. It is so much fun to try to guess what was real and what was not. But tell us what you're working on now.
Sure. So I am. I just did my first voice acting role for an animated show for Netflix, and I cannot say what it is. And it's animation, so it won't be out for forever. Unfortunately, so I can't talk about it for a long time. And then later this year, I will be filming my first like major feature length film called Contre-Coup with my friend James Kerwin, who's the writer and director. and I'm very excited for that. It's my first like actual leading role on a project, and again, it's kind of in that genre of loose sci-fi thriller, which is, you know, home for a big geek. And I'm really excited about that one. I love the character that I'm getting to play. So,
what's it about?
So,
That you can say.
I can say the problem is it's even talking about the plot starts to give like the overarching idea gives away a lot. But essentially, it is about a scientist who starts to realize that the world isn't quite right. Like his experience of the world is not lining up with what everyone else's experience of the world is. You know, there might be a TNG episode that seems like it might have some echoes of the vibe for those of you who know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so it's kind of where it is, and I'm playing another scientist in the film, which is great because I have my STEM background, which is really useful for that. Even though I did biotech and this is more physics, so I'm gonna have to brush up on the physics of it all. But that's going to be really, really exciting. And I think she's she's exactly the kind of character I want to play, where she's intelligent but vulnerable. Like I love, you know, getting to really dive into that, especially as a woman. So that'll be a lot of fun to do.
Nice. Do you have I know you mentioned Emma Frost, but do you have a dream role that you'd like to do down the line?
Well,
maybe.
I mean, all of my dream roles I feel like are largely Marvel related. If not Emma Frost, also Felicia Hardy, Black Cat, just because I have a really strong acrobatic background and aerial arts. Nice. And then, yeah, and similarly, a friend of mine, Shannon McGuire, she's an author in the sci-fi space. She's won some Hugos, and she has a few book series, and she has one called the Newsflesh series, which I know everyone's kind of over zombies, but I feel like eventually we're going to be ready for a new zombie project. And I love those books, and I would love to get to play. There's a character named Buffy, actually, named for Buffy the Vampire Slayer, not the same character. So that's something. And then I think, speaking of Buffy, they're bringing Buffy back.
They are. Well, they got a pilot order.
Yeah.
With Sam Geller. It's amazing.
I'm just sitting here going, I can't think of a better application for all of the weird, random aerial, acrobatic, fire skills I have. Like, make me a Slayer. Gosh darn it. That would be a dream. Or I'll play a vampire. I'm cool playing a villain. Like, you know, let me do something crazy in the air on metal chains. It'll be fun. So yeah.
Yeah, let's make that happen, everybody. Where can everybody find you online?
You can find me on Instagram at the Olivia Youngers, and same thing with Blue Sky and Threads. I deleted Twitter, so you can't find me there. Those are probably the best platforms to follow me. Instagram's where I'm the most active. And then I have a website you can go to as well. I'll start putting out a newsletter at some point soon, because I also do live shows in the LA area as an aerialist. And yeah, I think that's it.
All right, well, thank you so much, Olivia. Everybody go to 3geekspodcast.com, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.